What's up, Marcy Cookies? Cosino art here, no fear. So last time I shared with you guys 7 tips I suggest you to do during your job interview at the animation and game company. This time I have 7 things you should never do during the job interview if you want to ace the job. I came up with some of these based on personal experience and thanks to my friend who should remain anonymous because she works at HR in a game studio, which I shall not name. But you know, it is an insider tip, so listen up. Number 1, do not lie on your resume. Please, you guys, exaggerating slightly a little bit, like, you know, making it a little prettier, that's fine. But lying on your resume about like softwares that you know or real experience that you had, that's no bueno. So what usually happens is that a person thinks, okay, I don't really know this software per se, but I think I can learn on my feet once the company gets me because I know that like company uses software a lot. No, this is not gonna fly. Just because first of all, during your interview, they might ask you a specific question about this software and that's where you will fail miserably. So you don't want to be in a position where you'll have to admit that you lied because it's not gonna look good. And also you guys, generally all of these tips are important because our industry is rather small. Everybody knows everybody. So if you gain a bad reputation, that's not gonna be good for your career. So, you know, just try to be genuine, just try to be honest. If you know that there is a software that say a lot of game companies use or a lot of animation companies use, just learn the software. Try to at least figure it out to the point where you're comfortable enough to operate it. You don't have to be the master of it, but at least be comfortable enough to operate it, to answer some questions if they come. Otherwise, you know, if you lie on your resume, it comes up, it's not gonna be looking good for you guys. Just go and learn the software. You know, watch some YouTube videos at the very least. If you cannot afford a subscription to the software, that's understandable, but the least you can do is go and watch some online videos so that you're familiar enough with the interface so that you can answer the questions so that you feel somewhat comfortable. Like I remember Autodesk Maya used to have like a month free trial period or something like that. So go try it out. Just get comfortable with the software to the point where you can work in it and then you can improve from there. Okay, this is my favorite one. So there is a question that gets asked on most interviews, especially in entertainment and industry. I don't know why, but you've heard of it, I'm guessing. What is your greatest weakness? Think about it. Really think about it. Because please, for the love of God, do not say things like, oh, I work too hard, or oh, I'm a perfectionist. The thing is, there is a lot of advice out there to actually do that. A lot of people suggest, oh yeah, if you're asked what is your greatest weakness, say you're a perfectionist, or you know, say that you're working too hard because it will look good to the employer. The thing is, most employers know that it's all crap. They know that if you're answering, I'm a perfectionist or I work too hard, you're one, being untruthful. That's what it tells them really, not that you're really a perfectionist. And 2, that you've been preparing just like everybody else. What I do suggest you do instead is think about really what are really your greatest weaknesses. What would be challenging for you? Think about those things. Like think about it truthfully, what applies to you. Try to answer genuinely, but also follow up with how are you dealing with that? How are you fixing it? How are you working on that? So that the employer sees that even though this is kind of your greatest weakness, you're working on it and you're getting better, so it's not going to be a problem. So for example, for me, when I got this question, I would usually answer, I'm not a native English speaker. And you know, I would be working in mostly American companies. So I feel like I should be upfront that yes, I speak English, but I'm not a native English speaker. So my English level might be not as perfect or as on a level maybe as some other people. But at the same time, I did follow up with like, you know, I've been learning English for that many years and it's been improving. And you know, whenever I don't know something, I just Google it. I mean, in terms of like phrases or whatever, like if I don't know the translation or meaning of something, I'll just Google it. Which again, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Yes, for me, it's a weakness. So I present them with it. But also I show them that I'm being honest, I'm being truthful. This is really what I'm struggling with, but at the same time, I'm working on it. So this just tells them that, okay, she's honest, her greatest weakness is not as bad, and she's working on it, which is great. So yeah, don't say you're a perfectionist. Most people, even if you are a perfectionist, try to be at least specific. Try to, you know, otherwise it's just gonna sound like you made it all up just to prepare for an interview, which doesn't look good. Okay, so next one on our not to-do list. because you will be getting interviews in many different companies, whether it's animation company or game company. You're probably in the industry for the love of a craft, right? You probably play those games, watch those animations, you're familiar with their work. And a lot of times what people tend to do when they go into those studios for the interview, because they are so hyped, they're so psyched to be on the interview with those guys, and they want to share that love, they want to show them how much it means to them, which is, it's good to have enthusiasm, and it's good that you know their stuff, but do not go into a fan stage. Because what happens is, a lot of times when a company interviews a person and they go all fan stage on them, instead of showing that this person is actually familiar with their work and enthusiastic, what they see is a fan. They don't see an employee. And that usually doesn't go well in an interview. So if you're familiar with their work, if you love their animations or games, that's good to mention. You can say like, yeah, I've been playing your games for that many years, that's great, or something like that. You can mention it, but just don't go overboard with it, because that's where studios just kind of cross you off the list right away. So next one is, don't trash talk. So what I mean by that is, because like I mentioned, it is a small industry. If you're in games or animation, usually everybody kind of know everybody. Companies know each other, employees know each other. We're all living in the same world, we go to same conventions, our lives interact, especially when people change companies and rotate. So when you're talking about previous experiences, try not to trash talk your previous company. I mean, if you did work in a relevant industry before, try to not talk negatively about previous company or your previous employee or your previous employers or your coworkers or things like that, because employers don't want to see this negativity coming in. That's one. And secondly, there is a great chance that they know each other and you don't know what kind of relationship they might have. Even if you do have working experience with a studio before, or you know somebody from another studio, just don't bring it up. If you do need to talk about previous experience in a company, just talk about relevant stuff, relevant specifically to your work, nothing about the studio or the people working there. That's something I wish I didn't have to give that advice, but according to my friends, people do trash talk on the interview sometimes, so I feel like I need to bring it up. And next one is, don't look desperate. Sometimes when people have struggled to get in a job in a while, or if this is a company that they really want to get into, they've been a fan of a company for many years, or you know, they've been playing their games for many years, they really want to get into it, sometimes they tend to unconsciously look desperate and send out this energy, like desperate energy, which is also doesn't look good for employers. You really want to come into this interview with the attitude of being professional, confident, because you know that you're going to get a job, doesn't matter if it's in this company or the other one, and positive. Because if you have a confident presence, what employers see is that you're confident in your work, you know that you're worth something and your work is good. So if you take that and you add some positive attitude, you're gonna look even better for employers. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And the last one on the list, don't be late. I know life happens, traffic happens, a lot of things happens in life. But the thing is, punctuality is really important for your employers because it tells them about your work ethic, how seriously you treat your job. So if you're late for the job interview, first, definitely not gonna look good. But second, you might not even get the interview because some companies, they treat it as if you're not showing up on time, you don't need to show up at all. So make sure if you're going to the interview, try to arrive early. If you can be half hour early, even an hour early, that would be perfect. Because sometimes they might squeeze you in a little bit earlier, and you being early will also tell them a lot. So I hope you find this tip helpful and it actually helps you with your interview. Alright you guys, thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, if you haven't seen 7 tips on what you should do during your work interview, check out this video over here. As always, I have new episodes coming about art careers, different job in art world and entertainment. So stay tuned and I'll see you guys next time.